So Bitcoin's found some stability down here, which is pretty good. We're waiting to see what it's going to do in reality. Are we going to roll back over? Are we going to go sideways or turn up? One thing I don't like is that we are below this trend line I have here. This goes back quite some ways. It's under the 200 daily moving average, and ideally we can get back above that. But we do have quite a bit of work to do. It doesn't look like a long ways here, but it's a longer distance than you think, at least psychologically. So we do have some good signs around the market, though. There's a few coins that are bouncing back pretty nicely, setting up pretty good for a follow through. Bitcoin isn't necessarily set up for a follow through. It's also not really set up for failure. It's kind of a low volume rise, but I like to take the bullish side of things. So if Bitcoin starts to break this trend line here, you could use that as a stopping point for a short if you want to do that. Other than that, if we stall out and try to come back up, then that'll be hopefully a chart pattern, and that'll be something that maybe everyone can get behind that. But right now, I really don't like the fact that we're living under this. But at the same time, kind of like how 2020 was an event, this was an event in the market. And maybe what it showed us is that this is all the selling pressure that was in the market. Maybe that's what came out of this Nikkei trade, this whatever you want to call it, the Japan carry trade, the roll up of the Japan carry trade. Maybe that's what they showed us. This is everything that they've got. And it kind of exacerbated itself here more than it was probably going to. Similar to 2020, because if you look at 2020, I'm not sure if anyone's thought of it in this term. I mean, it's possible, but this was also an event. This was not necessarily in the charts. We were coming out of a downtrend. We were doing okay, kind of similar to what we did now, actually. Kind of slowly moving up here. Nothing crazy. There's not a lot of volume down here. Then we rolled over pretty hard. This was all due to COVID. This was all COVID based. Now this may not have been, but this candle here definitely was. And if you notice, it took a few days to chop around, then finally got going and out of it. But what would have happened if we didn't have COVID? Would this bar have been here? I'm 99% sure no, it wouldn't have been there. But would we got sideways for several months as well? We'll never know. I mean, obviously history happened how it happened, and so today it's going to happen how today's rolling out. But the market wasn't accounting for that, and so maybe the fact we're under this trend line isn't the worst thing in the world, and we just have to figure out a new normal once some time is played out. Because I'm not so sure we're going to bounce right back into the mix. It'd be nice if we did. That would definitely show some extreme strength in this market. But we just have to watch and see how that's going to go. And I guess that's kind of how technical analysis works. I got to be quite frank with you guys. I know you're watching videos and you want answers and but it doesn't kind of work that way. You can, once you deal with the markets long enough, you either have an amazing sense for exactly how the market's going to do, and you build a strategy around that amazing sense, or you just kind of wait and see and just build your strategy around that. Mine's more of the latter. The former, the first one, where you kind of know exactly what's going to happen. Um, there's guys that are better at that than me. There's guys that are better at that than you, and pretty much most people on YouTube that I've ever seen aren't those guys. Okay, so the problem with that particular skill set, if you think you have it, is that when you're wrong and you bet big. So trading's also more about money management and how you manage what you bet in your trades than actually being right about what you're doing. Because even some really profitable traders have a less than 50% win rate. Some are less than 40%. I've heard of a few less than 30%. So it really has less to do with whether you know what's going to happen rather than how you handle the situations you're in. And from that regard, something like this where you had an extreme drop, you either need to be able to get out really quickly or avoid it altogether. You can't take these drops many times and survive in the marketplace. It just doesn't work out very well. So anyway, kind of went on a mini tirade there, but the whole point is you have to manage your trades more effectively than even knowing what the market's going to do. But right now, for me, it's definitely a wait and see time how this is going to pan out. And then based on the signatures we get, we can make some more determinations. All right, Solana. Solana here, in my opinion, this is showing true leadership in this market. You got Solana right back in the mix. You're in the middle of all of this patterns up here. Let's take a look at BTC. Where's BTC? It's underneath all of its pattern. So Solana is stronger than Bitcoin. And I think that really does go to show how much the market right now believes in Solana, maybe the next Ethereum. This is behaving much. Ethereum's down here right now. It's way down here. So you can see the strength in this asset, and this is the one that they're rooting for right now. So I don't think you sleep on Solana at all. I think you pay close attention to it as the market leader. Not much to do with it today, though, as it just keeps kind of chunking up. Volume is declining, so it will be tested at some point, probably pull back in, and we'll see how that goes. This could lead you to actually, when the market does start to decline, that could be something that you watch is just Solana to see when that's going to happen. All right, onto our hot coins of the day. Dog with hat, which is on here so much, I remember the name finally. WIF up 22% today. And this is what you would like all these charts to look like on the altcoins. Boom, right there. It's exactly what you hope it would look like. Now, will this hold? I don't know, but the signatures look pretty good, as a matter of fact. We're not far from the selling, which is why this VA tool hasn't really rocketed up, as there was already quite a bit of buying pressure here. So this didn't register as much, but look, it's sideways, which I think does say something. The dynamic here is interesting. So if you want this, you have to get on a breakout here. That implies higher volume from this declining situation. And then we'll see where we end up. There's a pivot point, kind of a pivot point. It's been chopped through a little bit, but it's a little bit there. We're through these lows, and we have all the way up to actually this pivot point right there, as a matter of fact. That's it right there, 2.4. So there's a chance we get up here towards the 2.4. There's a small breakdown point prior to that here at the 2.26 right there. That could be problematic, but there's not too much standing in our way. Small pivot point here at the 1.84. And but all in all, pretty good signature here for WIF. All right, next up is Sui, S-U-I, whose name they tell me is S-U-I. I think it's pronounced Sui. I hope it's pronounced Sui because I just told you it was. This one not doing too much, but it is our second hot coin in the top 50. It's actually number 50 on CoinGecko. And you can see on this one, chopping up almost in a frozen rope pattern. It's a small one so far. There you go, frozen rope pattern, a small one. Just got some distribution here, pretty heavy volume as a matter of fact. So I'm not sure this one's really going to make a full-blown recovery. Still with lower highs and lower lows. This is not one I've seen too often. Looks like we do have some alerts on it here, so that's good. Also under quite a bit of pressure right there. So that's going to be a resistance for this name as we start moving up here a little bit. Not looking too great for this one, but it is one of our hot coins of the day, so it's got that going for it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining me today on Altcoin Buzz Trading. I will see you tomorrow. Stay very safe out there. Bye-bye.